Um, Commissioner Steele went to get her glasses, but we will move forward. And we have a very special speaker here, a guest here, a former commissioner. And I would like, if you could, Barbara, if you could do the Pledge of Allegiance for us. So first we're going to do, I was mentioning that, Barbara, but first we're going to do the roll call and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Steele is here. She's getting her glasses. So, okay, Barbara, just give me 1 second because I kind of jumped ahead. So can we do roll call? Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, Commissioner, you're correct. You can do land acknowledgement, please.
The West Hollywood Human Services Commission acknowledges that the land on which we gather and that is currently known as the City of West Hollywood is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Gabrielino Tongva and the Gabrielino Quiche peoples.
Thank you so much. And we are going to be doing that. And the next item would be roll call.
Good evening, Commissioners. Commissioner Adolfson.
Present.
Commissioner Ayers.
Present.
Commissioner Palmieri.
Here.
Commissioner Steele.
She is here.
Okay. Commissioner Wyville.
Here.
Vice Chair Borelli.
Present.
Chair Williams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And please, the Pledge of Allegiance. Go ahead, Barbara.
Will everybody stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate you. And here comes Commissioner Steele. All right, the next one is to approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Excellent.
I'll second.
Excellent.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Borelli and a second from Commissioner Ayers. Roll call. Commissioner Adolfson.
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers.
Yes.
Commissioner Palmieri.
Yes.
Commissioner Steele.
Yes.
Commissioner Wyville.
Yes.
Vice Chair Borelli.
Aye.
Chair Williams.
Yes.
Agenda is approved.
Fantastic. Now go to item D, approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Excellent.
I have a correction, please.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you please put an S at the end of Mills for James Mills on the first page? It's correct on the second page. It's not on the first page. Because I would like to make sure that that's in the public record.
Any other notes, corrections before we go to approval? Thank you, Commissioner. Now, can we have a vote or?
I think you need a second first.
Yeah.
Well, I now move to approve the minutes based with that edit.
Second.
There we go. Okay.
I have a motion from Commissioner Adolfson and a second from Commissioner Steele. Roll call. Commissioner Adolfson.
Aye.
Commissioner Ayers.
Abstain.
Commissioner Palmieri.
Yes.
Commissioner Steele.
Yes.
Commissioner Wyville.
Yes.
Vice Chair Borelli.
Aye.
Chair Williams.
Yes.
Minutes approved as amended.
Great. Thank you so much. Now we have E, public comment. Do we have any public comment besides what's written in front of me? Great. So I will read this into public comment. Nicole Payton sent in a public comment. Hello, I am sorry I am sorry to not be able to attend the meeting in person this evening. I did not see an option for written public comment, but would like to provide this public comment. We, Kat Ing, Wendy Jane Carroll, and Nicole Payton, all death doulas who live and are on boards and commissions here in WeHo, are excited to announce that we've partnered with the WeHo Library to host upcoming death cafes. To host upcoming death cafes. I want to be clear with that. At a death cafe, people, often strangers, gather to eat, drink tea, and discuss death. Our objective is to increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their lives. A death cafe is a group directed. Wow, okay, I'm sorry. A death cafe is a group directed discussion of death with no agenda, objectives, or themes. It is a discussion group rather than a grief support or counseling session. It would be lovely to see you, or perhaps you can invite others, to the cafes on June 20th and August 22nd from 10:30 a.m. till noon, and at the WeHo Library. More information can be found at visitlacountylibrary.org/event/16484-946. Thanks, Nicole, Kat, and Wendy Jane. It has been read into the comments. Okay, now we have number 2, consent calendar, nothing, none. Public hearing, none. Unfinished business, number 4, none. Now we have number 5, new business, 5A, mental health awareness. And I have something to read here, correct? Okay. Item 5A, Mental Health Awareness Month. As part of Mental Health Awareness Month, today's agenda item highlights the importance of mental wellness, reducing stigma, and reducing access to care. This year's theme, More Good Days Together, reminds us that mental health is deeply connected to community, support, and human connection. We are pleased to welcome representatives from 2 organizations serving our community. First, from the National Alliance on Mental Illness Westside Los Angeles, Oshri Haka, School Program Coordinator, will share work focused on mindfulness, emotional awareness, and social well-being through education and illustrated materials for children and adults. Then we will be hearing from Maple Counseling Center, which has provided mental health services across Los Angeles County for more than 50 years. Verona Belli, Chief Executive Officer, will discuss the organization's programs to provide free counseling services to community members. We will first start with OSHA and then with Verona. We're going to hold all questions, commissioners, till the end after each presentation, so please think of your questions, write them down. And before we start, it is very important to this community and to this commission, and I will speak for us all, mental health is a huge issue, and I'm so happy that it's going to be televised today so that the people of West Hollywood can see that these services are provided to them. So with that being shared, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. And we already had a land acknowledgement, but I wanted to extend it a little bit. I brought a Native American flute. I'm going to play for just a moment to facilitate, as I would if I were visiting a group of kids. We've reached over 6,000 kids with our program this year, so I thought it'd be good to have a taste. And I don't have indigenous ethnic roots to this land, but I was born here. And I like to think that when we create the sounds that have origin here, we're honoring people who are here, and just the fact that people have been gathering to oversee communities in healing and togetherness for in an arc that spans longer than the last year and a half or the last 300 years, but into the tens of thousands of years range. And I like to imagine we're connecting with that arc of human connectivity. So with that, I just encourage everyone to breathe slowly and deeply. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes and see what comes to mind when you envision mental health, mental wellness for the city of West Hollywood, or whatever space wants to come to mind. We'll just do this for a moment. a deep breath in and let that settle in. And I'm gonna change the pace a little bit. I'm gonna move a little bit quickly through some of the children's mental health materials that we use. And before jumping into this, I wanna be clear, NAMI Westside LA definitely also serves adults. We have peer support programming and education for people going through mental health struggles and conditions, and also for family members going through mental health conditions and struggles, and they don't have to be diagnosed. Our programming is at no cost to community members as well. And my focus has been with children's mental health, so I'm gonna jump in to that now. We have a whole menu online, and you'll see my email come up at the end, but basically, I'm not gonna go through every one here, but we have pretty robust offerings all the way down from TK through to high school, even college, and then we also have programming for adults and school mental health professionals. So if you email me, and again, you'll see I like to think I'm easy to find. So if you find my information, I can send you this online, and these resources are free of charge. People can print them out. Or I can also come into your school or community center and facilitate. I do a lot of work with Boys and Girls Club. I also do a lot of school visits, and it's really fun. I love my job. I love working with kids in this way and giving them the seeds of connection that I might guess not all of us got to experience when we were going through school. One of our programs, and this is a program that's run by NAMI nationally, so most chapters of NAMI, which there are like over 650 chapters in the country, they'll have a program called Ending the Silence. That's for middle school through to high school. We also do it for families and for school staff. That's a conversation about what mental health is, how to identify warning signs of people struggling with mental health, coping strategies, how to reach out for support, how to be an advocate. I love doing these in the classroom. We do lots of classroom visits, but we can also do assemblies, because scheduling is always the hardest part of it. It's nice that the service is there, but it's the nitty-gritty of working with the counselors, teachers, admin who have to navigate and schedule the day-to-day, and I like to think that we're pretty accommodating for scheduling different types of events. So I hope there are teachers and administrators, school mental health professionals listening in that choose to bring us into your school next year and help this conversation unfold with your students. We also have a children's mental health toolbox. This has been really where I put a lot of my time and energy. I'm also a children's book author illustrator, so I love creating material for this toolbox. I'm going to run through it a little bit with you. So it's a PDF. It's not an actual box, but you may have guessed that. Right, we have coloring sheets, like really basic things, trifolds. I handed some of the commissioners some trifolds examples that I did, different trifold projects for different needs. We have like a big range of stuff. There's a poster that we have on testing, and I'm always creating new stuff. So if there was, I'll give an example. I spoke to a group of school psychologists today, and I opened the question of what could you use for your school. They said, a few of them said school refusal. So students refusing to go to school, especially after COVID. And that got my wheels turning, because I don't have a resource for that yet. But the more I hear about what the needs are, and especially when people reach out to me directly, there's always a way to create new materials that then get shared publicly and can be used for people. They might have the bandwidth to facilitate and lead, but maybe it helps to have a seed of an idea, an initial resource for this. That's an example of like the most simple thing here, right? Just an affirmation coloring sheet. The llama, as a side note, the llama is the unofficial mascot for NAMI because let's see if I get them all. They're gregarious, they're compassionate, and they can carry a heavy load. So when we're thinking about mental health and being mental health advocates, those are attributes we appreciate. We also have not all, but a lot of these materials translated and available in Spanish as well. Here's an example of a trifold for something really specific. It's for kids going from elementary to middle school. So again, that can be facilitated by me or someone on our team, or you can print them out or ask for copies and facilitate it in-house. We like to think we can accommodate different types of schedules. That's a test poster. I'm going to run through this. Here are a bunch of activity packets that we did. Again, I'm just going to give you the sampler. So this is about imagination and imagining a different world. All right. I'm just going to read the first part of this activity packet. You're allowed to picture something else. In fact, you don't need anyone to tell you so. You're allowed to imagine another world, one where people are safe to come and go. So these activity packets are meant to spark reflective conversations with students. We have a bunch of them here. This is a project for responsiveness, responding versus reacting, right? By the way, a lot of this stuff is, I like to think it's good for adults too. And we all have an inner child, and I find myself in the children's mental health space, but we've definitely done some of these activity packets with adults or young adults, older children, and they go well too. I just like to rhyme, so that's where the children's fit comes in. This one is about bullying and being a bystander versus being an upstander. So there's a reflective conversation there for anyone who that resource could be useful. There are no mistakes. There was a school counselor who asked me to do a project and activity around perfectionism. So yeah, I did mean to spell that incorrectly, and it wasn't a mistake. So here's examples of some of my books. They're organized into the 5 categories of social emotional learning. So there are a bunch of them. It's an ongoing project to turn them all into videos for people who have a hard time getting the books. There's also student, teacher, caregiver instruction sheets. So if someone reads the book, they can send it home, or a teacher can use it to know what questions to talk to the kids about after reading these books, how to get the most out of them, to bring that into that SEL curriculum. So remember this guy that was for elementary school students transitioning to middle school? We have a bunch of them for different populations. So we have a trifold library. And again, the commissioners, I gave you a bunch of these. So just to take a look at, we have a mental health resource for bus operators and riders, for elementary school teachers, for finals week, people going through finals week that I worked on with some UCLA students, for flight attendants. That was actually the first one we did, and that got distributed to, someone printed like 50,000 of those, so that was pretty fun. General mental health recovery we have resources on, identifying eating disorders for middle school and high school students, general mental health, for police officers working on sensitizing to mental health conditions, for a condition called tardive dyskinesia, and we have a resource there for veterans as well. So we can offer facilitation or printed resources around all this, and I like to think if we don't have it, come to me and we'll make it. We'll make new resources for you. It's my favorite thing to do. So far mentioned, we've reached over 6,000 kids with this programming at no cost to their schools or centers. So ideal situation, people reach out to me and just know this is a resource. We want to, I don't know, what we'll get to next year. Will it be less than 6,000 or double that? That would be cool, but I'd love to hear from you. And that's all I have, and I'll look forward to questions when the time comes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The time is now.
Great.
So, thank you for that, and thank you for the flute earlier. Shall we start with Commissioner Steele? I'm so sorry. It's your turn.
Oh, do you want to?
Oh, okay. I will do this. How about that? Thank you so much for having me. I'm Verena Blyle, CEO of Maple Counseling. We've been around since 1972, and we are a proud partner with the City of West Hollywood. I think it's extraordinary what you all have done as a city. They offer constituents in the City of West Hollywood 10 free therapy sessions at Maple Counseling. And please get the word out about that, because when it comes to mental health, being able to speak up, we have a new saying, is not mean to intervene. Anxiety and depression are at the rise right now, and so if you see someone, it's not mean to intervene. And if they are a constituent here in the city, they get 10 free sessions with us. So that we're very proud of that. So Maple Counseling provides therapy to all ages and stages, as we like to say. So it's from the wee ones all the way to the elderly. We do individuals, couples, family, group. And we also have a training program, because there simply aren't enough therapists out there to meet the demand. So we're proud of being able to do both. And recently we stepped into community crisis arena due to the LA fires and the immigration raids. So we actually got a Maple mobile. We went out to the shelters. We offered free therapy to victims of the LA fires. We had a campaign for those who were scared to seek help due to immigration raids to call us. And this is a great segue to one of my most beloved programs that we offer at Maple, which is our Welcome Center. It's the Briskin Wilder Welcome Center, and it's for free for anybody. And what it is we absorb all of the time and burden of figuring out what the mental health need is, finding the resource in the community that will address that, working within one's budget. We'll even research and find therapists on your insurance plan. And like I said, it's completely free. It's funded by philanthropists who just felt it was absolutely too hard in this particular city and generally the United States to connect with the mental health services that you need to even understand what it is you need. So I will end with just sort of sharing, as May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we are trying to connect with people to help them touch back in with the resources that they have within themselves. And so there's a lot of things you can do. Just listening to Oshri's flute playing is obviously one of them, but the one I like, because it's simple and it's so easy, is just what we call name it. So you'd be surprised. Therapy is incredibly helpful. It's like if you're going to go to the gym, if you've ever had somebody there cheering you on or working out with you, why would we go through the challenges that life presents without somebody there in your corner if you have 10 free sessions? But believe it or not, if it's really quick, you just need a quick fix, just name your feeling. So with anxiety at the rise, I've been going out saying that because it sounds like it's simple, but it isn't necessarily. It requires presence and mindfulness to even check in with yourself. And then if you just say, gosh, I just heard that news and I'm feeling anxious right now. And if you just name it, it'll bring it down. So that's my little tidbit. Thank you again for having me
Thank you.
and for the partnership.
No, thank you. And what is that, 10 free sessions?
10.
Did we hear 10?
Yes.
For the residents of West Hollywood?
Yes.
That's wonderful. 10 is great.
Mm-hmm.
And each commissioner here is going to say 10 in their comments. That's a gift.
Yes, and from you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so thank you both. So now, at the end of both presentations, we now are going to have Q&A. So shall we begin with Commissioner Steele?
Sure, thanks, Chair. Thank you both for the presentations. Thank you for calling us in and taking a moment with us and with the folks that are joining here. And also equally important for those that are watching and are able to watch in the future. That was a good moment, so thank you. I'm wondering if we, I guess first, the materials that I did read through while I was sitting here from NAMI, and thank you for providing these. I'm also wondering about LGBTQ specific materials, if there's anything on offer, if we have anything on offer, especially as we're going into Pride. We know hate crimes and hate incidents are on the rise. We know folks are terrified and triggered, and I think having it on offer in advance of and through Pride season or at Pride might be a nice thing.
I think that's a good nudge because we don't have it yet, and it's something that's been slated. So I'll say when that is prepared, and I'll make it a priority. I will contact the office, and hopefully they'll let you know that we'll have a resource for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah.
And I would encourage staff, if we do have some other folks that might be able to offer those resources for Pride, et cetera, that we reach out to the center and some other folks who might have that on offer. So thank you. And then Great Odd Maple Consulting, I just wonder if all of the boards and commissions can receive that information so we can share about 10 free sessions. It's really good information to share. Thank you.
Commissioner Palmieri?
I just want to make sure that I heard, did you say 10 free sessions?
I believe she said 10 free sessions, correct, commissioners? Yes.
I
Thank you, sir.
think it's important to reiterate that because one of our top concerns is mental health because it affects everything else that we're providing for. So when we have folks like you coming in presenting to us in a meaningful way, it surely makes us feel good. Thank you for the music. It was something that I actually needed this evening. Thank you for the offer of 10 free sessions. I may take you up on it, I don't know. And I look forward to our future.
Oh, Derek, I love your notes. Thank you so much. Before we go to next commissioner, I was just reminded, your 10 free sessions is not just for residents, but for people who work, go to school,
or spend a significant amount of time in a house.
I was going to say for the unhoused, if they are
Yes.
spending a significant amount of
I couldn't-
time in the West Hollywood area.
Everything was really clear. You should be a doctor. Okay. But I thank you, Derek, for that note. So just to reiterate, it's not just for residents, okay? So mental health is very important, and what you're both doing is very important. So, but it's not time for me to speak. Commissioner Wyville.
10, right?
Yes, 10.
Thank you. Appreciate the presentations. I don't have too much to add. I think just emphasizing for the members of our community to take the time that they need, find the resources that they need, and you both are offering some really great ones. I do have one question that is just a general question, I guess, about the mental health field, and especially for practitioners. I think that we're constantly finding new factors that are contributing to more mental health crises. And I'm just curious how you all, if that is like something that you're doing in your work, if you're tracking these and you're compiling, I don't want to say reports, that sounds very sanitary, but how you're constantly tracking the changing needs of the community and your patients and your clients.
Well, at Maple, we use a national standard called OQ. So the clients would fill in a survey before they start therapy, and then it's set at various intervals to check in. And when it comes to mental health, you're looking for sort of a marginal increase, and we get 85% increase, which is really good. But that's one of the standards by which we measure. And then we also have intake assessments for all of our clients, and that's where the therapist has about 50 minutes to get a sense of what the issues are, and I look at reports for what are the trending issues. As you can imagine, the most common is anxiety and depression, and it is on the rise as far as my sample size of Maple counseling, but I think that might be obvious just out there that we're in unusual times when it comes to mental health.
Thank you.
And from our end, I think just continuing to visit the schools and talk to the kids, listen to what their needs are, talk to the school psychologists, the school administrators, and have conversations about what they are seeing going on at the schools, and then being responsive with developing resources and or facilitation that focuses around those happening in time. Because I think you're right, it's really, there's a tangent, but there's a hypnotherapist I met a decade and a half ago, and he said, everyone's always trying to look at the textbook and see what it says. And he said, the person is the textbook. And so I think it's just, as we continue in our work, we cultivate and refine the ability to read the room, ask questions, and investigate, because you're absolutely right. This is a lot of new terrain.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Commissioner Aries. I'm just.
That's okay. Oh, Shri, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. First off, I was wondering if city staff has connected you with the city's Children's Roundtable. That might be a really good resource for you. And if not, I would ask staff, let you know when the next meeting of the Children's Roundtable, because you have local educators and people involved in schools all coming together. And it seems like you have a lot that you could present to them, and you could be a valuable resource to many in that room. And thank you for the musical performance. It was truly beautiful. Regarding Maple Counseling, I just want to say that the city has really prioritized mental health services. And the reason for that is I know there's been surveys with residents, and mental health needs has ranked high among our residents. So at some level, they need mental health support. And the city has responded by providing that support. So this is a really valuable resource. 10 free sessions is nothing to sneeze at. If you're in, say, session 7, and you're realizing, oh boy, I have so much to unpack, I need more support that I could fit into 3 additional sessions, what is Maple Counseling prepared to do for people who need something beyond the 10 free sessions?
Of course, yes. We work on a sliding scale fee based on income. So you could spend $1 a session. Our average session fee is $27 a session, which is essentially, less than a copay these days. And if when you go through our sliding scale fee, it feels too high, we have staff that will talk and figure out what works within your budget. In addition, if you have Medi-Cal, which does offer therapy for free, then that and otherwise, let's say you have Aetna and it's going to be more affordable that way. That's where the Welcome Center comes into play. So we're here at Maple to support everyone. So if for whatever reason we might not be the right, appropriate, even if it's financial response to your mental wellness after the 10 sessions, we have an entire Welcome Center that is dedicated to, for free, connecting you with ongoing services that you need and you can afford.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Adelson?
Yes, thank you both so much for being here and for those presentations. Love the work that you're doing. A lot of my questions got answered. Oshri, I'm curious with you, when you're working with a child and they have a more acute mental health crisis or condition, what does referral look like? What do you do with those students that might be in need of more assistance?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thankfully, we're usually working alongside the schools. So, one common situation that will come up is during, let's say, Ending the Silence, where we're talking about suicide prevention and things that are a little heavy. Something may come up, and a kid might come up to one of our presenters after the presentation, and we'll make sure we notify the school mental health personnel. yeah, so it's all coupled with the school and people who are really present with them, and they're usually able to contain and support.
Amazing, because I know a lot of young people don't necessarily want to talk to their parents about what's going on. So,
Yeah, that's a big topic about, we really try to encourage them to work out who to open up to and how. I would say that's maybe the biggest part of that presentation.
yeah, thank you for the work that you're doing. And with Maple, 10 free sessions. I guess I'll throw that in there too. And thank you, Commissioner Ayers. That was one of my questions. Is I know sometimes it takes a lot more. So it's great to know that you have that sliding scale. And I guess this is kind of for both of you. But how are you, or are you coordinating with the substance use treatment organizations that we have here in the city? Because I know sometimes a lot of these issues go hand in hand. A lot of people handle their mental health issues with substance use, and then it becomes a dangerous cycle. So are you in touch with the other organizations in the city?
Yes, we absolutely are. And so if it's an acute substance abuse issue, it gets referred down to our Welcome Center. And that's when we have licensed social workers and therapists, LMFTs, that will do what they can. Sometimes people aren't open to it, but if they are, they will do all the footwork. So that's the thing that's beautiful about it, is when you're going through something, it's very difficult to call around and persevere in finding a place that has availability at that moment that you can afford. So that's why it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to Judy Briskin and Rex Wilder, who fund it, that they do this so that everyone can just deal with whatever the situation is at hand for themselves or their family, and Maple will absorb all of that research. So if someone is going through something like that, essentially they'd be referred down. I say down because they're downstairs. And then those therapists will do the work, and they'll come back, and they even check in afterwards and do a little bit of case management. If someone's hesitant to make that call, we try to make sure that that's not what's stopping it.
And real quick, I would just say yes. and I usually work with the kiddos, so that's more connected with kind of broader presentation material, right, around substance use. But the more grown-up, the people work with the grown-ups in our organization, they have a really good referral list of different organizations who specify in that.
Excellent, thank you. And for folks who want to take advantage of the 10 free sessions, how do they find you?
You look up on our website, maple4, counseling.org, or 310-271-9999. And then whoever answers that phone, then will take care of you.
And is that where they go for the resources as well, for the connection to resources?
What they would do is call and ask to speak to our Welcome Center. And anybody can call just for that. You don't have to call us needing or wanting therapy. If you need the resources or somebody to just do that research for you or a loved one, it's the same thing, maple4 counseling.org.
No, thank you. It's sometimes very hard to find appropriate mental health care, and it can be incredibly, speaking of naming it, overwhelming. So being able to provide that resource to our community so that they can do it easily and safely and without shame and stigma, I think is absolutely important. And Oshri, thank you for the work that you're doing, getting them young and helping them recognize that there is nothing wrong with calling it out if you're feeling a certain way. I think you're training the next generation to take care of themselves. So thank you.
That Commissioner. Commissioner Palmieri has comments, but I just want to say right now the Maple website is above our head right now. So, Commissioner Palmieri?
Yes, I just want to make a comment. I'm so glad that you understand the correlation between addiction and mental illness. What I want to make sure that I'm hearing clearly, though, is that your Welcome Center, after you do free sessions, or if you need something else, or if you're trying to get through, they will navigate with someone's insurance or Medi-Cal or no insurance, and at the Welcome Center, they also will decide what amount of money on the sliding scale you can pay. And if you can't pay that, you'll be able to work with them in some way, shape, or fashion.
Absolutely. All of that, yes.
Great, thank you.
That's lovely. Good question. Vice Chair, it's your turn.
Finally. Thank you both, Oshri and Verena. We really appreciate it. I don't think I have to say 10 free sessions again, but I will. One of the things that we like to do is a call to action, especially when we're televised, and we may have 6 more folks that are watching, potentially from home. And I think we've all here done a pretty good job about hopefully welcoming people in to take advantage of this opportunity. I've mentioned this before to our other, especially mental health care providers, to continue to do some outreach among our service employees in particular. It was mentioned live, work, own a business and so forth. We have a huge workforce here, and oftentimes they get overlooked. And it would be great if we do an extra layer of outreach to folks who work here and help keep the wheels running. And I want to make sure we understand, folks, that shame and pride and self-doubt are enemies of good mental health. And you can hopefully drop that sometimes. I'll say for myself, I'm getting mental health right now, and whew, it's been very helpful over these past 6 months with the way my life has been. So our call to action from the Human Services Commission and our social services staff is to take advantage, 10 free sessions, and or if you feel more comfortable at the LA LGBT Center or other opportunities within the city that make you feel comfortable where you are going, please take advantage of that because we want you to live. Commissioner Palmieri and I know the story about a well-known bar manager at the Gold Coast, I confused Gold Coast, Motherlode, who committed suicide about 10 years ago because he couldn't pay his rent. The stress of not being able to pay your rent should not be what ends your life. So please, if you're in a challenging situation, take advantage of what the city offers. Thank you very much.
I am very proud of every one of the commissioners that I sit next to right now because everyone spoke so well and made such eloquent points, and we all care. That's why we're here. Mental health is everything. If you have a broken arm, you go to the doctor. We have to start getting used to if there's an issue and we're not thinking straight, or we're constantly sad or depressed, or we're overeating, or we're having 10 drinks in 1 hour, you need help. You go to the doctor, and you guys are the doctor. You're the doctor of the mind. So I'm asking every resident and everyone who comes to West Hollywood, and I'm supporting my chair in his call of action, I'm asking everyone here that if you have an issue, it's okay to go to our resources, to go to the Maple Center, to go and ask for help. There is no shame in that, whether you're Black, Mexican, Asian, I don't care. Whatever your sociological norms are, it is okay to ask for help. And as the chair of this very fine commission, I ask everyone who needs help to please get it. Do not be afraid to get it. If your mother says no, or your Bible says no, or your dad says no, it is your decision to take care of yourself and to choose the healthiest path for you. And there are 10 free sessions to start you on the path. And I thank you both for what you're doing. And to teach young children mental health and how to take care of themselves at such a young age, the world's going to be a better place because of that. So thank you for that. Because I wish I had that growing up in Southgate. I played softball instead and became a lesbian, so that maybe if I had mental health. With that joke aside, thank you so much, and keep up your good work, and please take care of yourself, because you have to take care of yourself to take care of others. So that's it. We're going to end that note. Jackie. Yeah, softball makes you a lesbian, Commissioner Steele. All right, thank you so much. And sense of humor helps, so thank you very much for your presentation. The next item is item B, 5B, HIV Prevention Month. I have another item to read. Okay, here we go. June is recognized nationally as HIV Prevention Month, an opportunity to raise awareness about prevention, testing, treatment, and reducing stigma. The City of West Hollywood remains committed to HIV prevention and care as part of its long-standing response to HIV and AIDS epidemic. Today's panel will be highlighting programs and services supporting individuals with or at risk of HIV. We will hear from Ruben Prasado, Substance Abuse Disorder Associate Therapist at APLA Health, who will discuss treatment approaches to reduce crystal meth use and support HIV prevention. After that will be Rob Leister, Senior Director of the Public Programs at Men's Health Foundation, and he will discuss HIV and STI testing, treatment and prevention options such as PrEP and PEP. Lastly, the infamous and world famous Chris Clarkin, Outreach Specialist 5 with the LA LGBT Center WeHo Life program, will discuss harm reduction, supply, distribution, and community health education as part of our broader prevention efforts. Again, hold all questions until the end. And the speaking order is Ruben, then Rob, and then Chris. Thank you. And you have 5 minutes each. I was gently reminded. And I was told to be nice to Ruben. So Ruben, please find a comfortable seat. 7 minutes each. I was just, yes. Well, we were told something and now I just was updated with something else. You comfortable, Ruben? You ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
As I do.
I'm sorry, no. Enjoy your presentation, have a good time, and we're here to learn.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ruben Preciado, and I'm with APLA Health in West Hollywood. I'm an associate therapist there with the Substance Use Disorder Department. Tonight I'm here to speak about how programming, reducing, or eliminating meth use is HIV prevention. So meth use is roughly about 20 times more prevalent in the LGBT community than the general population. People who use meth have a 16 to 33% more chance
Ruben,
of acquiring.
we're going to stop you 1 second.
Yes.
We need you to pull the
Oh,
microphone.
hold it closer?
Yeah.
Great.
There we go. There's the nice
Sorry.
voice
All right.
us old folks can hear. Thank you. Okay.
Got it. Sorry. And what I was saying, I was like, meth use is roughly about 20 times more prevalent in the LGBT community than the general population. People that use meth have a 16 to 33% higher chance of acquiring HIV. And among HIV positive people that use meth, only about half achieve viral suppression. And like, why is that? I mean, there's many reasons, but two main ones. Like behaviorally, meth drives like disinhibition, pleasure seeking, meaning more partners, more risky behavior, less adherence to PrEP or their HIV meds. Structurally, meth use tends to happen inside like close-knit sexual circles where HIV and STIs are commonly and often untreated. And in treating substance use, there are MAT services, which is medically assisted treatment. Some examples of that are like naltrexone or certain benzodiazepines that help with withdrawal symptoms. Unfortunately, there aren't any evidence-based practices that have been proven to work with stimulant use, but the gold standard that is evidence-based that has proven to work is contingency management, CM, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Contingency management is pretty straightforward, right? It's based on the principle that behavior followed by reward is more likely to be repeated. So it's a great incentive for people to continue to abstain from meth use. CM drives down meth use, driving down risky behavior, and driving down HIV risk. APLA Health also provides clients with individual weekly therapy that is evidence-based. They come in weekly, and we talk about what's going on with them, and usually just like in that moment or that day. Many times they are currently high. Usually, many of them are, And we just kind of just like go through like step by step, and we kind of work on their goals of either reducing use or like eventually wanting to completely abstain. But it's hard because they are in the throes of addiction, and it's really hard for some people to see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But through like 20 years of research, like CM and like CBT has proven to help. And together, CM and CBT have the best treatment outcomes. CM provides like immediate behavioral leverage to get someone who into sustained abstinence, while CBT provides the cognitive and skills that let them stay there once the incentives end. And lastly, like every week of meth abstinence that we can help a client achieve has like a measurable downstream effect on HIV acquisition, transmission, and viral suppression. Reducing meth directly cuts risking behavior, restores PrEP and HIV adherence, lowers viral load, and disrupts transmission in sexual circles. So in the end, like the services that we provide at APLA with CM and just weekly therapy like together is just it's proven to really help. That's it.
Great, you did wonderfully. That was really nice. Thank you. I worked at AIDS Project Los Angeles long time ago, so thank you for continuing the legacy of service. Shall we start with Commissioner Steele? Oh my God, he did it again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, sir. I'm having a rough night.
It's all good. There we go. Sorry. Thank you for having me here. My name is Rob Luster. I'm the Senior Director of Public Programs at Men's Health Foundation. Yeah. And I was going to talk a little bit about...
Okay, I'm going to stop you again. Pull it a little closer to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about PrEP and PrEP, like how we got here, where we're at, what services we're able to provide now, and where we'll be going for the next 5 to 7 years. So PrEP and PrEP are part of a approach called biomedical HIV prevention. So it's where you use medical interventions in order to prevent HIV. If you remember back before about 2005, we really only had behavioral interventions. So we spent most of our time admonishing people to either use condoms or abstain, neither of one which was especially effective. In 2005, CDC endorsed the use of antiretrovirals for non-occupational post-exposure prophylaxis. And that's when somebody has been exposed to HIV, you can give them medications they can take for 30 days, and about 70% of the time it'll prevent HIV infection. That's not ideal for a lot of reasons, not least of which it's only 70% effective, and really relies on the patient coming in, like being proactive, and that's not always, it's not always effective like that. In 2010, we were doing research on ways to proactively prevent, and so we had a study called the IPREX trials, and that demonstrated the effectiveness of oral PrEP. Then in 2012, the FDA took that evidence and approved it, and Gilead released Truvada. It was the first daily oral pre-exposure prophylaxis medication. In 2014, CDC released additional clinical guidelines that really emphasized the importance of PrEP in high-risk populations, in particular MSM, and high-risk cisgender women. And then in 2019, the FDA approved Descovy for PrEP. This was a very similar formulation to Truvada, but it's a little gentler on people who have pre-existing kidney conditions or a history of kidney disease. And then in 2021, the FDA approved Apretude, a cabotegravir from a manufacturer called Vive. It was the first long-acting injectable PrEP. So this was really amazing because with the daily medication, there was a lot of people had challenges with adherence. People don't like to take medications every day. They would forget, especially if it were combined with drug use. You know, it could go sideways. And so with Apretude, a patient would come in, they would take an injection, and then they would be good for 2 months. And so that was a vast improvement. And then in 2022, CDC was like, that's working really well. They expanded the guidance. They broadened the recommendations or the indications for long-acting injectable access. And then last year, FDA approved Yeztugo, a 6-month long-acting injectable from Gilead. This is a tremendous advance. The rollout has actually gone a little less quickly than we'd hoped. I'll talk a little bit about why that's the case in a few minutes. But I kind of want to, but before that, I want to take a look at where I think we'll be going in the next 5 to 7 years. And then I'll talk a little bit about our services. This pipeline, what we see in the pipeline here, it tells a story about our ability to expand access. Right now, patients can choose between a daily pill. They have a couple of long-acting injectable options, but those are going to be expanding as we go forward. So Apretude is in trials right now for a 4-month dosage. Men's Health Foundation, we're actually one of the study locations for that trial, so we're very happy about that. And that's going to be a great option. Within 2028, 2030, in a few years, Yeztugo may have a once-a-year formulation. We're also one of the trial sites for that. And so that would be a tremendous advance. In both of those cases, there are slight modifications to the how the medication is administered, but it's still the same underlying drug. So when those do come out, we'll have a lot of data on the effectiveness and the side effects of those medications, so it won't be completely new regimens we're rolling out. And then between 2029 and 2031, if everything continues on schedule, there is a study drug by a company called Merck, which would be a once-monthly oral PrEP, which I think will be a tremendous asset to biomedical prevention. It gets patients away from having to come in for injections. So for patients who are averse to injections, some people just don't like them. They can be painful, not long term, but people don't like it. It can be itchy and kind of uncomfortable for a few days. And anything like that can kind of put patients off taking it. So having an additional option will be a really powerful tool. And then looking a little farther ahead from that, 2023, we may be looking at a generic version of Descovy. We've had generic Truvada for a couple years now. It's been a tremendously positive tool. The price for Truvada went from $1,800 a month for brand name Truvada to about $15 a month for generic. I mean, we're actually, when patients come in, if they can't afford it, we're at a position right now where we can just give them a month or 2 or 3 of Truvada until they can get everything sorted out. But sometimes insurance takes a while. We couldn't do that when it was $1,800 a month. That was cost prohibitive. So it's such a tremendous difference. And for patients with kidney dysfunction or history of kidney issues, then when a generic Descovy comes out, that'll be another tremendous advancement. And long term, maybe we're looking at self-administered Apretude. They're looking at some completely new drug classes. So there's just a tremendous amount of scientific research going on, scientific advancement. And I've seen more advancement in the past 10 years than I feel like we saw. I don't want to discount the advances from before, but we've seen a tremendous amount of advance in the scientific treatment for HIV. One thing that's not on here that I want to point out is DoxyPep. So this is actually already out. It's not actually in the pipeline, but this is an antibiotic that we can prescribe for patients who have been exposed to an STI. So if they come in, they can take it within 72 hours, and it prevents syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia. It's just a tremendously powerful thing. Although I don't know that it is directly linked to DoxyPep, although it did occur at the same time, we've seen probably a 5% decline. We've seen a 5 percentage point decline in the positivity rate for gonorrhea at our testing clinic here in West Hollywood. So you're looking at from like a 12% positivity rate to like a 7% positivity rate. So that's more like a 40% decline. It's just a tremendous change, and we're able to work with patients. Sometimes if patients, we know they're going to go into a high-risk situation, maybe they're going on a cruise, maybe they're going to somewhere where there's many other people for dancing and things, we can get them prescriptions ahead of time, so if they are exposed, then they can take that. So it's just, there's a lot of flexibility around how we can manage that. And it's doxycycline, which has been available in the United States for longer than I've been around. So it's about $2 or $3 for a 30-day supply. It's very, very inexpensive. Let's see, what else want? In terms of our services, so in West Hollywood, we have 3 service sites. There's our location on Sunset Boulevard. It's our original clinic. This is still very much a primary care. It's kind of your old school doctor's office. All that's good with that. It's for our pharmacy is there, our laboratory is up there. And so there's just a lot of different services that patients can access there. Our next location we opened was 8601 South Broadway. It's a little outside of West Hollywood's purview, but there was a tremendous unmet need for services in South Los Angeles. And when we opened the location at 8601, we were able to address that. And it's, from what our patients say, there's not anything like that in that neighborhood. So we are proud that we're able to provide those services and that we're expanding there. And our most recent opening in West Hollywood, or most recent opening, is 8280 Santa Monica Boulevard. It is our rapid results HIV testing treatment. Our clinical research services are there, and SoCal Club WeHo, which is a drop-in center, service center for LGBTQ youth. Today I'm talking a lot about PrEP and PrEP, so I'm kind of gonna not focus on that as much as I would like to, but I'm happy to come back another time and talk to you more about SoCal Club and all the services we offer there. At 8280, so we've been open there since 2021. We provide somewhere on the order of about 10,000 HIV STD screenings per year. That's about 6,000 people, so we have a lot of patients who come in more than once. We have several patients, a non-trivial number, who come in 3 or 4 times a year, which is appropriate for their risk factors. The City of West Hollywood generously funds us there. Right now, we're 6 months into the contract term, as y'all are well aware. Thus far, we've served about 900 patients, 900 West Hollywood affiliated patients in the 6 months that we've been open, or 6 months since the contract term started. About 31% of those clients identify as being of color, and about 72% identify as LGBTQ. Our PrEP and PrEP treatment visits are on track, and screenings are running ahead of treatments. STI screenings are consistent with where we're projected to be at this point. The important part, I think the takeaway there, is that with rapid results, we've taken HIV and STI testing and integrated PrEP into it. So for every patient who comes in to rapid results, if they're HIV positive, we talk about PrEP for their partners. If they're HIV negative and they're on PrEP, we make sure the PrEP's going well. If they're HIV negative and not on PrEP, we talk about why they should be on PrEP or why it would be a good option for them. And because of that, we're able to enroll something like 600 to 700 PrEP patients per year. That some of those are coming back into care, some of them fall out of care, so it's not all treatment naive, but it is patients that were not previously on PrEP that we're getting back into PrEP. I want to talk a little bit for just a moment about our trans-inclusive services. When we approach trans services, it's important to understand, or I think it's important to make the point that for trans patients, as with all patients, our care starts with the same foundation. We have built the best possible clinical services, welcome everyone into it. We have self-scheduling, self-checkout, patient-friendly hours, testing appointments that are under 30 minutes, benefits navigation, non-judgmental care. These are available to every patient who comes in, not just gay men. They're available. We have patients who come, we have sorority girls, sorority women who come from UCLA. We have sex workers who come from Hollywood. We do have a lot of gay men. We have straight guys who come in, a lot of people from out of town who are traveling. So we have a really diverse population we serve there. And so we focus on making sure that every single person who comes in has the best quality care possible. So that's really how we frame our service to the community there, is just making sure that everybody feels welcome, everybody has access. And last but not least, I wanted to briefly tease something. I know, yes. My colleagues from LGBT know this one. So there was, as you know, with the funding chaos, the LGBT Center left their West Hollywood location at 8745 Santa Monica. We are looking to open there. It's not 100% solid yet, but it's like 99.9%. We're still working out what that vision would be. Right now, what we see it as is a long-acting injectable clinic for PrEP and PEP. We'd also provide behavioral health. It's next door to a substance abuse treatment facility where we could provide medication-assisted therapy. We also would provide behavioral health primary care there. One of the interesting things about long-acting injectable PrEP, especially the 6-month with Yeztugo, is that we've always been able to bring patients in every 3 months for HIV STI testing because that's how long the scripts are. And so it was, I want to say coercive, but there was a meeting of the minds in terms of coming back for testing. That's not present for Yeztugo or the long-acting injectables with longer term. So what we're envisioning is really putting a lot more resources, a lot more emphasis on patient navigation, case management for patients who are on long-acting injectables to make sure patients understand the importance of coming back in for STI testing. Way back when we were first looking at PrEP, one of the challenges we anticipated, we thought might happen, was a tremendous increase in STIs because if people are on PrEP, there's no reason for them to use condoms. What happened in actuality, though, was that the increased frequency of testing was so powerful that it overwhelmed the increased transmission due to the reduced use of condoms. And so being able to preserve that, I think will be it's a tremendous obligation we have as we roll out these new technologies. And it's a challenge that I look forward to working with our teams to implement. If I'm happy at some point in the future, if you'd like to come back and talk more about 8745. And that is my presentation.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Chris Clarkin, well known as you. So, as my colleagues say, as Ed here pointed out, I am from the Los Angeles LGBT Center, although I also am here representing our WehoLife program that you all fund as well. And it's funny because I could literally say what he said. Oh yeah, and what he said type of thing. And Rob, I want to clean one thing up in case some folks really don't know this. When we're talking about new cases of HIV in LA County, we're really talking about a small number. We're talking about 750 max?
1,200 countywide.
1,200, really?
Out of 10 million people.
Out of 13.9 million people. So we're not talking about this huge number. When we're talking about new HIV cases inside of West Hollywood, it gets even smaller, right? And when we talk about inside of the Hollywood area, that's even smaller and smaller. So we kind of talk about it, we have to look at that as the work that we're doing in prevention does all the other stuff. And that's like when they were talking about meth and how the correlation, or you were talking about earlier about mental health and the correlation. And then we were talking about medication-assisted treatments for things, right? And how the injectables and all of that. That's really what the work has been going on for so long, and it's actually working. There's a little struggle going on in the current environment or the political way that we are now that's probably affecting some of those numbers because we were really on a great turn downward and then kind of is doing some other things right now. But that's really kind of working in there. So I guess today I was brought up to talk about where we are when we're out there on the streets talking to folks about HIV and what that really looks like outside of the clinical spaces. Before I dive into all the fun little notes that I was making as everyone was talking here, I want to talk about how the program that we fund under WehoLife has really become this force multiplier, right? So when Micro Crisis Counseling came up here and was chatting, you were talking about someone that said, oh, I want to talk to the service people, talk to the folks out there. We've actually partnered with them numerous times in WehoLife. We actually promote them quite often to that very part about the folks of the ones that work in WeHo, because a lot of people don't realize that. They have come out and tabled with us alongside of the AHF fan. That's one of the cool things about the WehoLife program. I love that the building, their old center space, gets to be a new space because maybe folks who are just looking for services that are used to seeing us there will walk up and see that into there. Sorry, I will project and get right up onto the mic next to you. But that's the cool bit about it is that by working closely with others, it's the same when we talk about APLA. Because WehoLife is a standalone brand and may not be always branded as the LA LGBT Center, the partnerships are just always there for us. We'll be joining forces with APLA tomorrow night or Thursday night for their Party-Wise panel discussion up in the Doheny room, right? So those things are constantly going on as part of what WeHo Life does in serving the community. It's interesting that we talk about like medication-assisted treatment and we talk about the meth pops and stuff like that, because we were recently rolling out the new community health hub, and as part of our homework, we were joining forces with a lot of these folks, especially IV drug using sites that were doing needle exchange, because HIV is really living most in those type of places. It's not really, yes, we talk about how, I love how you said getting on a cruise, or we use things like DoxyPep. I was recently on a cruise and my cruise ship chased the big gay cruise down through Mexico. And it was very interesting to see and hear the conversations and watch people get off the ship and go and get Doxy at all the little pharmacies, right? Because it's something that, again, if they didn't bring it with, they knew, and they hear about it from each other, similar in the old ways when we used to talk about HIV in the house and ballroom scene and stuff like that. It was the same type of conversations that were going on. Well, that's also what's happening at all of these little sites. So when like the center has a needle exchange place in cooperation with Community Health Project Los Angeles, when we're back there at night, our substance use and recovery services team is also there talking about our medication-assisted treatment clinic, as well as having our community health clinic, as well as having us out there recently to talk about what West Hollywood is offering through the Community Health Hub. So it kind of goes all over the place, right? We also talked about that it's not living within specific communities. We always used to see it as being something that lived within, especially like a gay man population. Now, there is still a spike among communities of color, especially Latino or Latinx communities. It's not really on our side of the hill, it's kind of on the other side of the hill right now, and there is a kind of correlation to some of it with mental health and things of that nature. I see how you brought it up from how culture kind of addresses some of that, but that's the other real cool thing about all of the WeHo Life folks. So what we get to do and what we found has helped us the best is having a little bit of training in everything. So we're all mental health first aid trained. We're all trained in substance use disorder. Some of us are sex therapists. So we're able to speak to not just the kind of the LGBT population, but also the wider and our allies and stuff like that. We are able to address all the kind of risk factors that go on with contraction and things of that nature through a whole wide variety of stuff. We also get to bring new tools to the toolbox, right? So a lot of folks, we talk about coming in the doors or getting treated at our different places, but we also have opportunities to distribute things like home testing kits now that are really easy to get our hands on and distribute out to the community, that at a special event now, we can just offer one up to someone. And recently at one of our events that we were at, I had a couple of folks come up to me and we had a big sign that said, home HIV tests were readily available. And they came up and were like, oh, I'm gonna have this trick later tonight and he never gets tested, like, this is so cool. And then we went through the whole education of, here's how you can get it, here's how you can test, and then here's all the services, right? And we talked about connecting mental health and stuff at the center, and you said all the different ones that's here. One of the other cool, and I'm switching my hat between WeHo and the center type of a thing, but one of the cool things that we just recently implemented at the center is a no wrong door policy. So now if you come in for a sexual health visit and you're speaking to your counselor and you need something else, mental health, housing, food, click, 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 they make those referrals right in there for you and connect you to all of those services right inside of there. I know we took a little bit more time than we should, so I'm going to slow down here and stop for a minute and let you all come ask us some questions, and I'm sure some of the other pieces that I have in there can get addressed inside of there. So thank you very much for inviting us to be here tonight. Look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you very much. You were wonderful. Okay. So once again, important information. So I'm going to start from my left. Commissioner Wyville, would you have questions, concerns, comments?
Sure. Thank you all for being here. I think this is a topic we could probably spend just one meeting talking on all night, back and forth. So I think because this is a meeting that is televised this night and we have some community members that may need to just, in a more concise, condensed way, understand all the resources that you offer, would you be able to share that information, especially around PrEP and PEP and testing, how easy it may be for a community member to participate? And I know each of you have different areas in which your programs offer.
Sure, so absolutely. So for Men's Health Foundation, we have our clinic at 8280. You can walk in. You can also make an appointment online. We have HIV and STI testing there, STI treatment, PrEP and PEP. We're open 11 to 8 Monday through Thursday and 9 to 6 Friday and Saturday. So if you can't come in during business hours, that's completely okay.
And how much does it cost?
For West Hollywood, we will work with everybody to make sure that they are able to obtain testing at no cost.
Great, thank you.
I think it goes the same at the center. So LALGBTcenter.org is the phone number. We have our HIV testing hotline, 323-993-2997, which is in every single harm reduction kit that we give out. We too operate on a sliding scale of philosophy to make it at low or no cost to anyone, West Hollywood residents or all of those we serve.
For us, our offices are open from 8 to 5, and I believe that they make it as accessible as possible for anybody that can come in. Like there's always like walk-ins, but you could also make an appointment online.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna keep it there for now.
No, that was a great question. Commissioner Ayers.
Thank you for your presentations. There is a lot of information there. I got a sense from you how complex the service environment is that you're all a part of, and I really appreciate that. I mean, it's been 45 years since HIV was put on the medical books, right? And West Hollywood has been there every step of the way as far as coming up with the services and responding to people's needs and recognizing the the intersections of, like you say, mental health and HIV, substance use and HIV, and all the different components, so you can really provide the services that are needed. So it's quite amazing, and I could see why you are so effective and why LA County has such a low rate compared to other areas. And part of it is just the acceptance and the, I think, perspective of harm reduction rather than vilifying drug use and vilifying being gay or vilifying having HIV. And where you probably see a rise in HIV spread is probably in the States, probably in the South, where it is vilified. So, y'all make me proud. And I'm really glad to hear that Men's Health Foundation is pursuing that spot in the Rainbow District. I would love for you to come back when it's final, and do a presentation if that's something staff can fit into our schedule, because I think that is going to be really well received by our community here, and there should be like a city ribbon cutting and all kinds of things attached to that to really get the word out, is what I hope. But no questions, just that. Thank you.
Commissioner Eggleston.
And Ron. I second all that gratitude, and thank you so much for the work that you guys are doing. Obviously, it is working. Harm reduction kits, where can people find those? If they're listening or watching right now and they want access to that, where are you handing those out? How do they get those?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because they are just about everywhere. And so there is no one list that lists all the different sites and facilities and places that are on there. But one of the best ways to see that is to follow us on Instagram. And we're at WeHo Life, very simple, around all of the social media channels. And throughout the week, we advertise where we can be found, where things can be located, how to contact us so that you can make it available at your spaces and things like that. So that's the best way to, right there, is at WeHo Life on social media. And then what you'll find is the Community Health Hub, once it launches in mid-June at the West Hollywood Park, we'll have a wide variety of harm reduction supplies readily available 24/7.
Can you say a little bit more about what that is?
Sure. It's a great, so we call it the Community Health, or the city calls it the Community Health Hub. It's a vending machine. It's a harm reduction vending machine that has 24-hour low barrier access to a wide variety of different harm reduction supplies. I have all of them right here, my nice little pamphlet of the different things, but it does include all of the drug testing kits, it includes safer sex kits, it includes Plan B, it includes safe smoking, safe needle, safe usage kits. It has period kits, wound care, hygiene. It has a little bit of everything available to the community members at, like I said, a very low barrier to access. And we really look forward to seeing how that's being used and tracking the trends to help grow that program up.
I love that. Thank you so much. I love hearing that we have a very small number of new cases in West Hollywood. How do we get that small number to zero, and what are the barriers to getting there?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of lift our eyes and
So one of the interesting things we observe is that, so we get about 150 to 160 patients coming in every year for PEP. Like 6 of those are from West Hollywood. Our last contract, we underperformed a little bit on PEP because we couldn't find West Hollywood patients who weren't on
I'm sorry,
PrEP.
you have to get closer. You have very
Sorry.
important information.
Yes.
And the reason that we're pushing this to all 3 of you, because people can actually hear you and see you, so we want to make sure they get this life-saving information. Please proceed.
Thank you for that. We see about 160 patients a year for PEP. Almost none of them are from West Hollywood. We do a really great job in the city of educating people about PrEP. The number of new infections is very low, and what I see is it's very idiosyncratic. So we do everything we need to do. We can always be better at what we do, but I don't see a systemic gap in services in the city that I might see at another location. So.
Great, thank you.
I think you're actually, like you're saying, like, you can't really put a bubble and like say it, but you've already gotten to that point where it's very, very low. And what West Hollywood is also doing great is educating the folks who come here, who spend significant time here, about it so that it doesn't expand in their communities as well. You've also created a really tight network. So recently we saw a little uptick in testing numbers in a certain area of the community, and we were able to immediately engage some of our partners who have mobile units and say, look, roll out there. Get that mobile unit into this neighborhood, right? And we were moving faster than the county or faster than any public health department could because we were all interconnected. And as he was talking about like PrEP or PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, people know it. They know all of it. They know the 211s. They know the disco dosing. Taking a pill or having a pill after the fact, that's normative for the community. They got those resources out there. So it's just about continuing to do what we do, and we'll see that continue, you know, that ripple effect to grow around us.
Great, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we're at 7:25, and we have another presentation, so I'm going to jump over to Commissioner Steele for your questions and comments.
Sure. Sorry, Commissioner Palmieri. I first interfaced with APLA when I moved to Los Angeles. I lived in South Central. I knew no one, and I was always taught when you feel badly about where you're at, get up and do something for somebody else. So I volunteered, and they also fed us dinner, and it was a great way to help and support. I was committed to helping community members with AIDS and HIV on the East Coast, and I was really excited to get to connect with APLA and work with APLA here. And then, of course, the AIDS Walk for several years here in West Hollywood in honor honor of one of my dear heart, Robert Gamboa's brother, Albert, who we lost with Team Albert. I can't talk enough about what you mentioned about working with folks actively in addiction, and of course I've learned a ton there from Commissioner Palmieri, working with the Tweakers Project and being involved as well, but reminding people that there is a light for them, even if they're using, even if those moments, and making sure that folks have somewhere to go, that they can come in. If they're high, they can talk through that, they can talk about where they're at, they can set goals for themselves, is one of, I think, one of the most powerful things that I heard you say, Ruben. So I just really appreciate you saying that. We talk so much about the recovery space, we talk about the services that we offer, but meeting people where they're at is critical, and having that care for people in those moments can be a life-changing decision moment for them, and that's what that offers. So really appreciate that. I also want to echo the sentiments of appreciate talking about the numbers overall being down, and the importance of this work and what everyone here is doing and has been doing for years and years, the work that you all have been doing to bring those numbers down, but most importantly, that prevention is working. There's work to be done, there's always work to be done, but that it is working, the services are there, they've been there since way back, they've been here since I crawled to Los Angeles, they've been here since we've been serving here, since you've been in these roles, and that they're still ever present here. I know a lot of us are here, we see them in the nightlife community, we see the access people have, we see the centers and the service providers out and about, but reminding people about that, asking these questions about exactly how folks get access to service, setting those reminders for people, especially with the community health hubs, of course, we're big supporters of that here on the body, is extremely, extremely important. And I also think with this administration, with the time that we're in, there is so much fear and potentially misunderstanding of folks just saying, well, the budgets are cut and there's no money. And I've heard people say to me, there's no care because they cut the funding. We can't get it, and they can get it. So we can't repeat enough that you can get it. You can get it through West Hollywood, you can get it through the center, through WehoLife, APLA, and I think we sometimes in our bubble can get a little bit comfortable because we're so aware of it and it's so ever present, but that's why these presentations are very important. That's why us asking for the information and asking for it to be repeated is critical, because we need to all be reminding the community that it's accessible, it's affordable, there's pathways to get it with little or no cost, and working on those barriers, because folks don't, just because we know it doesn't mean the community always knows it or knows that they still have access to it. I've heard people make those comments even recently, so thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Palmieri.
Thank you so much, all three of you. I just want to point out that Rob received a Pulse-Arc Warrior Award from us this year, so congratulations again on that. I don't know that I have a lot of questions, but I do have something I want to say. I remember when I was teaching in New York, I'm sorry, it was around 1982 or 83, I don't remember exactly when, but there was nothing available, nothing. And for me to be able to sit up here and hear all of this, I remember when folks in the ice cold weather were standing in front of the village apothecary praying to get a shot of wheatgrass juice because someone said that that was going to cure AIDS. So everybody was around the line. Then people were saying that butter was going to it, so everybody was eating noodles and butter. I never thought that I'd be lucky enough to be around not only to see medications, which thank God they're here, cocktails and other meds, but to see any type of prophylaxis other than condom use. To be able to see a pill such as Truvada, or another generation of it such as Descovy, but now to see these LAIs, I can't explain to you how it makes someone of my generation just feel like this is amazing. I don't know that we'll ever get to zero, I really don't, but the fact that we're where we're at and the treatments and prophylaxis that are available, it's just heartwarming. And I'm not sure that if you weren't there, you truly get this, but I'm glad that people get to hear about these new things, because for me, they're all miracles. And you know, I've lived through the worst, and now I'm sort of seeing a way out, and I sort of, it makes me really happy. It makes me very emotional. I did want to ask one thing. I forgot. All of these are covered by Medi-Cal or insurances. Am I hearing that right with the injectables?
No. I could do a 20-minute talk on the complexities of getting it covered with insurance. For patients who are on Medi-Cal, it's covered.
Okay.
For patients who have private insurance, it's very complicated. Some of the insurance companies cover it very easily. Some make it a lot more complicated. I wish that I could come in and give you a clean answer and be like, yes, everybody's perfect. But there's something like 14,000 different insurance plans across the United States, and they all have their own idea about how they need to deliver care. So happy to answer more questions in detail, but like the short answer is unfortunately no, it's not super simple. But we have benefits navigators who are trained to help.
It's really important information. I'm glad that you had some type of an answer for it. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to know. But I do want to thank all three of you. Very interesting and sort of like a light at the end of the tunnel for me that I see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
Hey. Interest of time, I'll go back to the call to action. We have the WehoHIV Zero initiative here, and it sounds like we're doing real good getting there. I see two, there were three council candidates. I'd like to inspire you to join us and make sure that folks have this information. There's also a harm reduction center at Being Alive, roughly Center City near the old French Market right across the street. Planned Parenthood here in West Hollywood also provides services to folks as well. Want to make sure that women feel comfortable going where they need to go to get protected as well. So thank you guys, and on to you.
Commissioner Ellison, I kind of cut you off. Do you have anything else to say? No? I apologize for that. Thank you very much, all three of you, and the notorious Chris Clarkin. We've been here for a while, you and I, and being of service. So thank you, gentlemen, for doing this, and thank you for taking care of our community. And thank you, commissioners, for your comments. And that's it. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to 5C, the Holloway Interim Housing Program Update. I have another paragraph to read, so get ready. This item provides an update on the Essentia Holloway Interim Housing Program, a 20-bed non-congregate, Jesus, I have a bachelor's degree, interim housing site serving individuals experiencing chronic homelessness and living with disabilities through a housing first model and on-site supportive services. On this panel, we will hear from Diane Kahn Epstein, Strategic Initiative Supervisor, Francisco Gomez, also from Southgate, Strategic Initiative Administrator, and is there a third?
We have some
Okay.
other folks
All right.
we'll introduce.
So again, I'm going to hand it over to you, and we will not interrupt you until afterwards.
Great. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, members of the public, and staff. My name is Diane Kahn Epstein. I'm the Strategic Initiative Supervisor in the Human Services Division. And staff are here tonight to provide an update on the Holloway Interim Housing Program. This is the first comprehensive operational update for this commission since the program launched in October of 2025. First, Francisco who is our Strategic Initiatives Program Administrator, will highlight program outcomes and share demographic information from this first 6 months of operation. Next, we'll have Alicia Brown, who's the Manager of Expansion Programs at Essentia, to discuss resident engagement and day-to-day operations. And then we're fortunate enough to have two participants from the Holloway program here to share their experiences as residents. After we hear from CJ and Erica, I'll wrap up by touching on the recent donation drive and community support efforts. We'll talk about next steps and how Holloway aligns with the city's coordinated response framework and homelessness response strategy. Next slide, please. Now I'll turn it over to Francisco.
Thanks, Diane, and good evening, commissioners. So as you all know, the Holloway is a 20-bed interim housing program serving unhoused community members who meet the qualifications of chronic homelessness and who live with disabilities. The program uses a low-barrier, housing-first approach focused on bringing people indoors first, stabilizing and building trust before long-term housing goals. The program is operated by Essentia, a homeless services provider in our region who the city has worked with since 2016. And they have operated programs like the Holloway for well over 2 decades. Referrals for the Holloway come through our coordinated outreach teams and homeless services providers, primarily the West Hollywood Care Team and Healthcare in Action. The program is intentionally designed for people with the highest barriers to housing stability, including long histories of unsheltered homelessness, behavioral health challenges, chronic health conditions, and prior difficulty remaining engaged in services. Core program components include private rooms, meals and basic needs, behavioral health support, case management, housing navigation, and coordinated care with outreach and healthcare partners. Holloway functions as one part of the city's broader homelessness response system, alongside outreach, behavioral health response, and permanent housing efforts. Since the program opened in October, the program has served 32 unduplicated individuals. All participants enrolled to date were chronically unhoused, living unsheltered in West Hollywood prior to enrollment, and living with one or more disabilities. The program remained at or near full occupancy throughout the reporting period, with all 20 beds occupied at the close of the second quarter in March of this year. 3 individuals are currently on the program's wait list, reflecting continued demand and referrals from our outreach partners. 1 resident has exited to permanent housing, and 3 additional placements were pending inspections, funding approvals, or move-in coordination at the end of March. Housing progress for this population often moves more slowly because many residents require stabilization, document readiness, benefits coordination, and behavioral health support before placements can become possible. While one confirmed placement and 3 pending, while unconfirmed and 3 pending placements may appear modest, they represent meaningful early progress for a population historically among the hardest to engage and house. So to date, there have been 12 exits at the Holloway, 1 permanent and 11 to non-permanent settings. Non-permanent exits include 4 transfers to other interim housing programs, 5 exits to another non-permanent destination, such as moving in with family or with a partner, and 2 exits without a confirmed destination at the time of exit. Exits outside of permanent housing do not represent failure. For individuals with significant behavioral health or medical needs, remaining connected to services or transitioning into another shelter setting can represent meaningful progress compared to long-term unsheltered homelessness. In some cases, individuals may need to transition between programs before achieving long-term stability. We are also tracking service engagement. At the end of the first quarter, 67% of individuals who the program served were regularly participating in services on site. By the end of the second quarter, that number increased to 90%. Increased engagement is an important early indicator of stabilization and connection to healthcare, behavioral health services, case management, and the benefit system, all of which help facilitate transitions to permanent housing. Next, we'll look at the demographic information for individuals served at the Holloway. 78% of participants served to date have been over the age of 45, with 32 over the age of 62. As for gender, 59% are male, 41% female, and 12% identified as trans and are counted as the gender they identify as. The program serves an ethnically diverse population, with 41% of clients identifying as white, 25 as black, 19 as Hispanic, 9 as multiracial, and 6 as Asian or Pacific Islander. I will now, so actually before I transition to Alicia, I think that the demographics directly influence the types of services types of supports needed in the program, including the behavioral health services that are offered, healthcare coordination, accessibility needs, trauma-informed engagement, and the long-term housing navigation that's offered. I will now transition to Alicia Brown, who is the program manager at the Holloway, to talk more about on-site services and the resident experience.
Thank you, Francisco. Good evening, commissioners. I'm Alicia Brown, the manager of expansion programs at Ascensia. It's good to see you all. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about what daily operations actually look like inside the program. Our staff is on site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the overall approach is centered around building trust, providing consistency, and offering stabilization. Residents arrive with very different experiences and needs. Many have experienced long-term trauma, significant behavioral health challenges, chronic medical conditions, or negative prior experiences with the homeless systems and services. Building trust takes time, patience, and consistency. Each resident has access to weekly intensive case management, behavioral health support, healthcare coordination, meals, hygiene, support, transportation assistance, financial literacy classes, and housing navigation services. One of the most important components of the model is the non-congregate setting itself. Having a private room and a stable environment often creates the first opportunity many residents have had in years, even decades, to decompress, rest, and begin focusing more consistently with services. Engaging participants in services can be challenging, and progress is rarely linear. However, over the first 6 months, we've seen meaningful increase in resident engagement, participation in services, and overall participant stability. This evening, I have 2 residents who wanted to share their experience with the Holloway and the program. So we're very grateful and thankful that they are here. First, I have Erica, who will come and share a little bit.
Well, my experience at the Holloway House, it's been...
Erica?
Yes, my
I
name
love
is
your t-shirt.
Eric. Thank you. And it's been heck for me to get from there to the Holloway House. I've been in the street, I lived in tents, and now I'm in the Holloway House. There I can have my own room, peace of mind, to think and adjustment period of being alone, to get my things back in order. Then the staff there is okay, they're cool. But my thing is just getting my place to stay. They are on top of it by trying to help me find somewhere to stay. That's all, and it's a great thing. So kudos to Holloway House. All right.
Thank you so much. You did wonderful.
Erica is one of our participants. She's pending housing. So it's just a little bit of a waiting game, but the connection has been made. So we're very happy for her. And next we have CJ.
Hello, CJ. Welcome.
Thank you.
I love the mask and the walking stick. You're very stylish.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Tell us what we need to know.
Well, I had to write it down. Oh, wait, and I have to put my glasses on and read it because, first of all, I want to say thank you.
Can you pull the microphone closer to your mouth because we want to hear everything you have to say?
Okay, I said, first of all, I want to say thank you. I am so happy for this program. I said I wasn't going to cry. But I'm really happy for this program. I mean, it's just done so much for me that I just feel like, you know, there is hope. No matter how much you go through and how long you've been trying to find a place. And so I wrote down, Essentia has helped me. They provide a way to help you feel better about yourself. That's the main thing, you know. It's like you get into a place where your mind is just all over the place and you don't know what to do. Where am I going to go next, and what am I going to do? So being there has kind of helped me to just get grounded and to focus. And I was thinking earlier, like, the sky is beautiful, but to see a ceiling, that's nice too. You know, it's just lie on a bed and look up at the ceiling and go, oh, okay, I got a bed. You know, I have a bed. And otherwise, I was thinking about their services. They have a lot. They give you a lot of services. You know, you have occupational therapy. You have, they have this lady that comes in, and she even teaches you chair yoga for, you know, someone like me. Where you can just still be able to move around. And exercise, I found out, has been very helpful to me because of certain conditions I have, you know, physically and medically. And I've gotten better. You know, the before picture, I wouldn't want you to see it. But this is almost the after picture, you know, because it gives you a sense of self-esteem that you're able to, you know, put on some different clothes and make yourself, you know, make yourself feel better about what you want to do and which direction you want to go in, which at some point in time, you don't even want to go in a direction, you know? You just sit still and don't want to even think. And it happens, you know? I don't know, like they were talking about mental health, you know, it can get to that point where you're just like, I don't even want to think today, and nobody's going to make me. You know, so being there has really helped because of the occupational therapists, because they give you transportation to get to the doctor. You know, Healthcare in Action, which is what helped me, you know, to be referred. And the guy was just tremendous. He said, I got you. You know, I got your back. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I've just been in such a position to wait for the other shoe to drop. That when somebody say they're gonna help, you're like, yeah, okay, all right, I'm waiting, you know. But they actually have. They have actually helped. And, you know, some things like being able to take a shower when you want to. It's a simple task. It's just, I don't think a lot of people, you know, think about it too much. You know, they take advantage of being able to just go into a bathroom and turn some water on and take a shower whenever they want to. But being able to do that has been, to me, I'm just loving it, you know. I turn the water on. Well, never mind, I won't go into that. But the case management, Shaquisha, she's been great, you know. Like she was saying, the staff is really cool, you know. They're always like, you need something? You want something? You hungry? You want something? And he's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll have something to eat, you know, and they're always attentive to trying to help you, and that helps a lot. I mean, it makes you feel better when someone's asking you, can they do something for you, you know, and I had to get used to that. But I guess the information they give you with the housing, they're always giving you some kind of list that I think it's connected with LAHD. Is it? It's you know, resources, and they always have some flyers, you know, and they help you with. You need to come in and talk to them. They're there for you, and that's a good feeling. And in closing, I really just want to say, oh yeah, they help you budget your money too when you get some, you know. It's like, you know, what are you going to do when you get some money, you know? So I've been doing that because, you know, I need to learn that, you know? And so that's a good thing, that they would help you to try to think about how to spend your money, how to save your money, because that's what some of the classes have been. They have a lot of classes. They have a lot of people that come in and teach you a lot of things, you know, that you probably wouldn't even think about too much, or some people take advantage of, you know. And so I guess the biggest thing that they help you with is probably peace of mind to move forward. And I really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I think CJ was very thorough with all the services that we provide. I'm going to turn it back over to Diane.
Ms. Brown, before you leave.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your work, and thank you for bringing these two lovely people over here to talk to us.
It is my pleasure. I'm tearing up because I'm hearing like the support, and we really care. We really do. And it's just great to have the opportunity. So we thank you all for allowing us to have the opportunity to share in this big task that belongs to all of us.
Yes, ma'am.
So we thank you.
And it's
Thank
okay.
you.
It's okay to cry. Trust me, I'm the only commissioner here that cries publicly in front of everyone and on television. But thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
God bless you.
Thank you, CJ and Erica, both, for taking the time and sharing your stories. We really, truly appreciate it. And Alicia, thank you for coming and highlighting. And Alicia helps teach those literacy courses and has talked about creating game nights for folks and book club and other things personally that she makes happen. So thank you all. In addition to the operational and service partnerships supporting Holloway residents, we also wanted to highlight the strong level of community support the program has received during its first 6 months. In March, the city and Essentia partnered on a community donation drive that generated over $10,000 in combined contributions through community donations, city support, and Essentia crowdfunding efforts. I wish Jenny Ivanova were here tonight so we could thank her for organizing and implementing a very successful drive to raise funds and needed supplies for the Holloway. Donations included hygiene supplies, clothing, welcome kits as people entered into the Holloway, household goods, bedding, including blankets from Commissioner Palmieri and friends, and other basic needs items that directly support residents both during their stay and as they transition into their permanent homes. While many of these items may seem simple, as CJ pointed out, they have very meaningful impact on the dignity and the comfort and stabilization of residents who entered the program often with very few personal belongings. We've also seen strong interest from community members who want to support the program in compassionate and constructive ways. And we're continuing to work with Essentia to explore opportunities for future volunteer opportunities and engagement efforts moving forward. Next slide, please. As we look ahead, there are several key priorities guiding the next phase of the program. Operationally, staff remain focused on maintaining stability within the program, sustaining occupancy, and continuing to reduce the number of participants exiting the program early by working with outreach teams and Essentia to strengthen placement, matching, and engagement strategies. Essentia staff also continues to work toward the pending permanent housing placements currently in progress and working with city staff to build additional housing navigation pathways overall. Another important step for city staff is the development of a public-facing data dashboard that will provide greater transparency around key program metrics and outcomes over time. Our amazing Francisco Gomez is busy working on that, as with many iterations. Staff will share the draft dashboard at an upcoming Human Services Commission meeting to gather your feedback. In addition, the city and Essentia will continue strengthening the community support the program has already received through the donation drive and other engagement opportunities. Finally, staff will continue aligning Holloway operations with the city's coordinated response framework, particularly around coordination among outreach teams, behavioral health services, interim housing staff, and permanent housing resources. One of the clearest takeaways from the first 6 months of the project is that programs like Holloway work best when they operate as part of a coordinated system, rather than as a standalone intervention. Before we move on to questions, I want to thank Alicia again, and Erica, and CJ, Ascensia staff, as well as our city partners, Francisco, and for all of his work on this important project, and the Commission for your continued support and oversight of this work. Thank you, and we're here to answer any questions.
Well, we're going to start off by thanking you, Diane. You forgot to thank yourself, so thank you. Okay, we're going to go, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Yes, so I just want to say that Commissioners, we're going to go over a little bit, so just be patient, but it was worth hearing every single word. What are you doing? Oh, okay.
And
All
Chair,
right.
is there a motion to extend the meeting? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Second.
Well, that's what you're saying to me.
And Chair, for how long is it?
I would say 20.
Look at the pain in her face. I'll second. Is that okay? Yep, second.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to
have to do a roll
oh my
call.
God, I'm like, okay. Yes, please do your roll call. Please do what you're supposed to do, and I'm just going to.
That was a motion by Chair Williams and a second by Commissioner Steele.
Yes.
Roll call. Commissioner Adelson?
Aye.
Commissioner Ayers?
Aye.
Commissioner Palmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Steele?
Yes.
Cup of coffee.
Commissioner Wyville?
Yes.
Vice Chair Borelli?
Nay.
Chair Williams?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
We're going to try to go fast. I was just giving everyone a heads up, Vice Chair. Yeah. I'm going to just keep moving forward. You're good. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, so next we have item number 6, excluded consent. Oh, Jesus. Yes, questions, please. Commissioner Wyville, please.
Happy to start. I will be brief as well. Thank you to everyone from Holloway for joining. It's great to hear all the work you're doing, your stories, and for being part of the West Hollywood community. We're grateful for you. To staff, appreciate all of the report. I think the main question I have, I mean, this project is very popular in the community, it appears, and very popular among our commission and I think the city in general. So that's wonderful. We've done a great job, I think, standing it up. I just am curious, like, what the biggest obstacle is to getting folks into permanent housing. It remains, I'm guessing, a lack of permanent housing. And the next and only other question I have, those other non-permanent destinations, are you able to share any other insight on what those are and maybe why participants are moving there, not still being non-permanent at the Holloway?
That's a great question. I would actually like to invite Alicia to come up and talk firsthand.
Absolutely. To answer your first question, so many barriers, and we can start first with affordable housing. A lot of community members, especially in our program, because they're chronically homeless, they've been chronically homeless within West Hollywood. This is their community, and they want to be here, and it's not affordable. So trying to find opportunities, housing options for them in the area is very difficult. So just having the first conversation of thought of maybe we have to look a little outside of the area, that's the first. And then you have, again, the income. A lot of our individuals are on disability. And the finance that's provided to them is very minimal. If they go back to work, that all goes away along with their medical. So we're looking at affordable housing, we're looking at finance, we're looking at the area and the program. Some folks have doctors in this area, and not being able to maybe drive because of a disability, it's difficult taking public transportation to come all the way back to where your doctor is. So there's a lot of things to consider in placement and in finding permanent housing. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a good reminder of why our city needs to continue to build more of it in our community. And did you have any in response to the second question on the non-permanent transfers?
Absolutely. As far as exits, each of our residents, everybody comes to the program with very unique circumstances. I can share with you two examples of where we had individuals that exited the program prematurely. One individual I can think of previously was incarcerated. When they came into the program, they were very hopeful to be connected to services as well as find permanent housing. However, the presence of having security on grounds, the presence of having set meal periods triggered the individual. And within 2 days, it was, I'm sorry, I wish I could stay. I can't. At that time, asking, well, can we refer you to somewhere else, or where are you going? A lot of times you get, well, no, I'm gonna figure it out. And we try to stay in contact because folks are constantly moving, their phones are being lost. There are no charging stations to charge their phones, no computer access. So it's very difficult to stay in touch once an individual does exit the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you should stay there.
I think
so. Commissioner Ayers?
Thank you. At this early stage in the project, I'm not too concerned about the outcomes for the people leaving the program, because what's clear to me is that the program has been very successful in getting its residents to a place of stability so they can leverage whatever options they have available, which I think is just crucial. And what Essentia is doing with Holloway, this is what wraparound services look like ideally. It really is quite amazing. And I'll bet there's so many opportunities and resources and services that it can be overwhelming to the residents sometime, because it's a short period of time that they get to be there, and a lot of stuff that is thrown at them. So, you know, kudos to you, CJ and Erica, for being up to the challenge. Thank you for coming here and speaking before us. I know it's not easy to speak at a public meeting like this about your personal story, and I really appreciate that you both took the time to do that, and you sat through this whole meeting and waited for your moment, and thank you for that. I just hope you continue to embrace what you can, and know that you deserve to be in a safe place. You deserve that. And all these opportunities and resources, you deserve all of that. And thank you for coming today.
Commissioner Adelson?
I don't have as many questions this time. I just want to say thank you, and I second what Commissioner Ayers said. Thank you both so much for being here and sharing, and hopefully you learned about some other services that you have access to now, being residents in this community. The only question I would ask is sort of like, what have you learned any lessons in this first period of having the house up and running?
Oh, wow, that is a good question. The lessons, well, I can share with you what we're doing to track things. For instance, when we do have our exits, we are keeping a database specific. Why did this person leave? What was the exit? What could we have had in place? And kind of just going over that so we know how we build, because it's new. And the good thing about new is we have time to build and get better. Looking at our questionnaires, our satisfaction questionnaires, being able to look and see, okay, these are great too, because one, it's encouraging for us because we're like, okay, great, we're doing a great job. But then it also helps us again to improve, to look at, okay, all the things. This is, okay, they don't like this, even down to meals. Folks have preferences. Oh, I like the chicken, I don't like this. And being able to provide those specific details so that we can fine tune what we're looking for to make sure that people are safe and stable. And just little things, just, you know, their preference in temperature and the lighting and, you know, all of the little things. We take note, and Francisco and Diane have been such a big support. I probably bug him too much because I'm like, Francisco, what do you think about this? And how about this? And so they're just great supports, and we're just tracking. We're just keeping notes.
I love it. Well, thank you for the work that you do. I hope that this is a model for the larger Los Angeles city and county, because you guys are doing exceptional work. And I know, I think the community is really happy with it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Palmieri?
I'm going to speak very slowly. I want to thank the two folks that were residents or are residents there for coming. It's a very brave thing to come and speak in front of people, particularly when you might be feeling vulnerable, but you've really made our nights, and I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. What I took away from this, and I don't have a lot of questions, but I do have one at the end. I heard building confidence, I heard clearing my mind, becoming grounded, getting self-esteem, peace of mind, getting my life in order, learning trust and dignity, and the biggest, of course, is hope. When I was a kid and heard this guy, Harvey Milk, whoever he was, say you got to give him hope. I had no clue who he was, but you got to give him hope, and here we are all these years later, and hope is the one thing that I really hope that we get to, and I don't like false hope. So this is very positive. Now, I do have one question. Because I'm Italian, I want to know where the meals are coming from.
So we contract with Dino's.
With who?
I don't know if you all are familiar with them,
No.
but that's who we contract with.
It's a food service?
Yes, it is a food service. They deliver meals 3 times a day.
Oh, good.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we have snacks in between. So when individuals, you know, some appetites are a little heartier than others, they can come in and grab a snack.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Steele?
Thank you. I also just wanted to thank Erica and CJ for coming in and chatting with us and sharing your experience. And Alicia, ever since the second I met you, you've just radiated kindness and empathy and love, and I really appreciate everything that you do and how much that you care. And also just wanted to make sure that we continue to thank Francisco and Diane and Tari and Yvonne and everybody who works really hard to make everything run and happen with all that we're doing. And of course, shout out to Jenny, who is always missed when she's not in a room. One of the things I am hearing is about affordable housing, and I think we've got a couple prospective council candidates in the room. We've got a lot of conversation. It's never lost on me that every single campaign season, every single person running for office talks about the unhoused community, talks about affordable housing, talks about all these issues, but I'd love to hear a pathway from folks. So my call to action is, as we're entering this season, we're talking to all of our candidates. We're talking to them about the things that we're committed to. We're asking what their commitments are. Not in the broad stroke dialogue of fixing the affordable housing issue. That's not a magic wand conversation. How are we going to bridge the gap here? It seems to me there might be some things that we can do when we're talking about even upcoming projects in West Hollywood. How many affordable units, and is there a way we manage to bridge the gap between beds that are held in the city and getting folks into actual committed beds? Can we do that with units? Can we bridge the gap of this program and look to do things like that with our developers? Can we think a little bit differently, a little bit bigger, but a little bit closer, so that as folks are developing in West Hollywood, these are our community members, these are our friends and residents, let's keep them in West Hollywood. So we've got to find a way to do that as we're building and planning, as these other programs are developing. So that's my call to action. That's my request from the residents of West Hollywood and those that hear this and those that care. Let's challenge current council members. Let's challenge folks in power, and let's embrace the folks that are running, and let's have this dialogue about how do we think differently. We've heard this story. We've seen how great it is to impact folks this way. We know the power of this department, this staff, and what folks like Alicia and the teams can do. Let's give them the tools to do that, and let's keep folks in West Hollywood and help build our community a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Vice Chair?
Don't be a NIMBY, be a YIMBY. There's no such thing as streamlining the development of affordable housing anywhere. And we might say that we're faster and better in West Hollywood, but it's still slow as heck. Weatherly Drive under construction started in 2019, broke ground last October. That's what it's like. I will say first, Yvonne Corker, Acting Director of Human Services Rent Stabilization Department. Thank you for being here tonight and for your leadership with our as an Acting Director, a leadership for the team here that we love and adore. We like seeing you. Waiting list is, my question is about the waiting list. There were 3 on the waiting list. Is that strictly Essenzia's oversight?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. For Alicia, I'm going to flip the script. Yes. Being in affordable housing and dealing with NIMBYs myself, have there been any negative experiences you've had from the community or from the neighborhood or so forth? Because we've been really invested in this program. Yeah. We said do not add security that's going to make it feel like Fort Knox. This is a home where people are going to be for a while. We want to feel safe and comfortable, but also protect the property. And it feels like it does that. I live on Holloway. I scoot by it every day. You might hear me ring my bell sometimes. Sorry if it's 7:15 a.m. But are there any issues that you're dealing with from the neighborhood or the community that's not helpful to you?
I remember before Holloway opened, we had lots of meetings about security and oh my goodness, this might happen and that might happen, and let's, prepare, for stabilization just in case. And one of the things that I had mentioned to my team was, no, it's going to be calm. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. We set the tone. We set the environment. It's going to be great. And I didn't 100% know that, but I was going to speak that. It was going to be great. We have only had welcome and warmth from the community. We have had no complaints, no issues, only people wanting to help and give back. The event that Jenny hosted, the drive, we had community members. There was one lady, individual, she came and she was limited in her mobility, and she just had a can of, it was vegetables or soup or something. And she's like, I want to donate, I want to give. And literally, that is the welcome and the warmth that we've been receiving. And it's just been great. It's been great.
Great to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you for this work. Thank you. And as I said to others, take care of yourself so you can take care of them. And thank you for everything. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for the report. Great job, you guys. Thank you, Ms. Brown. I think we should sing Kumbaya. Okay. All right. Commissioners, am I to go on to item 6 now? Because you've been helping me all night. Yes? Okay, thank you. I appreciate your compassion and support. I had a rough day. Item number 6, excluded consent. Item number 7, items from staff.
Good evening. I'll make it short and sweet. Thank you all. Again, all of our speakers and presenters, this has been fantastic. I wanted to briefly highlight the recent kids fair that we had on May 2nd.
Yay.
It was a great success. We had more than 300 families join us. I won't say that our side was better than the rec side, but
you can say that.
I can say that.
Yes.
The event created a fun, welcoming, and family-friendly environment for children and their caregivers. One of the great additions to this year's event was the Kids March, which added a positive and energetic element to the day. Our youngest community members made posters and marched around the park for the causes they believed in, and we want to thank Chair Williams for support and bringing that to life. It's really exciting and fun to see. We'd also like to share that the new Seeds of Hope food distribution that was relocated right here to Council Chambers lobby is going great. It used to take place over by Robertson Gardens on the other side of the park. It now takes place here Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We've got a great feedback from the community members. They like being inside. They like having access to the air conditioning and the restrooms. And so we are here to stay. And this will be our new second location for our West Side community. And as a reminder, we still have distribution over at Plummer Park, and that is from 10 to 12 on Thursdays. So we're really happy. I did that wrong. Tuesdays is Plummer Park, Thursdays it's here. So as a reminder, it's open to anyone who lives, works, goes to school, or experiences homelessness in the city. All are welcomed. We've seen an influx of folks on the west side that are workers, people who work in the city, and people who work for the city. And so we're really glad to continue to have this opportunity to provide food to them. And Derek had a couple updates.
Well, I just had one update about the mid-year report. So we are reimagining how we report data to the commission, and we usually take the mid-year report in June, but this time we're still rethinking things. We're still kind of evaluating different data sets we'll use. So we'll be taking the mid-year report in July. And that's it for me.
That's quick, okay. Oh, and here are the pictures. Yay. There he is, yes, with the flute, yes. Nice, and you guys did a great job, by the way. Thank you so much. No more comments? Okay, now we have item number 8, public comment, and we're going to invite up for public comment, Jonathan Wilson.
Good evening, Commissioner, Vice Commissioner, sorry, Chair, Vice Chair, it's late. Chair, Vice Chair, and then Commissioners. I just want to say thank you so much for today. I have been using the services in this community for over 20 years. I'm starting with my coming out group at the LGBTQ Center. At the time.
Jonathan, can you speak into the microphone, please?
Yes, sorry. I've been
much.
using the services for over 20 years at the LGBT Center, starting with the coming out journey, and have used quite a few of the health services and other things that the community has offered and helped sponsored. And I just want to say this commission is so important to me personally, and I have a lot vested in this. I also want to reemphasize the need for mental health. I've had multiple friends of mine commit suicide, and nobody wins in that scenario. It's really just a devastating. And every year on the anniversary, I always reach out to the moms, and it's just, and even their birthdays, like it's just, they're never forgotten, right? And I want to make sure that we as community members remember to help our friends, recognize that there are free services out there. I've personally used the free mental health services. I encourage others to use that as well. Just because you don't have any major symptoms or you don't really need help doesn't mean that it wouldn't be good to talk to somebody, right? The other piece too, one thing that I did want to reemphasize is that the HIV, the issues that we've had around HIV prevention and around awareness, while we may have migrated that from the general gay community to then we started helping gay men of color, we still have a major issue with women, and particularly black women of color. I would encourage us to say, if we are a true city that focuses on women's health and women's rights, let's focus on black women when it comes to HIV. Let's really take that little emphasis and just get an umph, right? And how do we teach other parts of our LA County how to maybe work with black women, other community members, or other people in the LA County that may need assistance with HIV prevention. Those are some of the things I just wanted to say, but I ultimately wanted to applaud you. I also wanted to say too, about interim housing, I thought that was an excellent presentation. Some of you know that I've invested personally into affordable housing. So, and I continue to support affordable housing in this city. And with that said, I think, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jonathan. Next, we have Stephen Post. And are we tracking 3 minutes? Thank you.
Hi, Commissioners. Thank you. I'll try to keep it short as well. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Really appreciated the presentations from Maple Counseling and NAMI. As someone who's been diagnosed for 15 years with mental health illnesses, NAMI was one of the first groups that I went to and saw and had resources, so really appreciate them being out here. Also appreciate our speakers around the HIV and AIDS treatment and prevention. Definitely need to continue to spread education there. And particularly, I really want to thank the Holloway residents, CJ and Erica, for coming out. I think they're perfect examples of why we need to continue to be building not only more affordable housing, but more intermittent housing and getting these folks off the streets. But I'm here to give a few quick updates from the Public Safety Commission as I'm your liaison. We did have a recent meeting, and during that meeting we did hear an update on the drone item from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. That item will actually be coming back as we needed a little bit more time to discuss that at our next meeting on the 22nd, and it'll actually be being heard in City Council in this chamber on the 29th of June will be when that meeting is heard. So I encourage you all to continue to stay attuned to that item. Additionally, I want to thank folks, I know some were here, whether it be from staff or commissioners, for attending the public safety luncheon that we had on April 29th, where we honored some of our volunteers and all of our first responders for all of their service. Some of that service that they're doing right now is preparing for Pride, so appreciate those call-outs as well. Our public safety folks are eagerly trying to get ready for Pride, and I know there's been some concerns recently around some of the fights folks may have seen on social media or things like that. There has been an increase by our entertainment policing team of foot patrols in the area to make sure that they are pushing back against that, especially ahead of Pride. And then lastly, I know there's a lot of comments in our last Public Safety Commission meeting around the street vendors, hot dog vendors. We'll continue to be attuned to those public safety issues, but one of the things I wanted to share with you all, if you weren't aware, the city does now have a new business and neighborhood safety manager. That was previously Vito Adamitis, the person that's in charge of code enforcement, and that new individual is Abraham Duran. I encourage you to meet and speak with him. He was able to come and introduce himself at our meeting. I know there's not always overlap between code enforcement and human services, but I encourage you to meet him as part of that team as well. And those are all my updates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Chris Clarkin.
Good evening, and again, Chris Clarkin. I'm a proud resident of the city of West Hollywood. Just circling back on a couple of quick issues to close some loops. So Commissioner Palmieri asked about access to long-term injectables and sliding scale. So the center does have a PrEP hotline at 323-993-8990, in which you can speak to one of our PrEP navigators. They will take you from A to Z and make sure that you have access to everything you need. Try doing that with one of the apps that's available online. Real people, 40 years of experience. I wanted to point out that because we were talking about HIV prevention, that June 5th is National Long-Term HIV Survivors Day. It does correlate with Pride this year, so you'll actually see events looped into the whole Pride experience as that goes on. Again, since I'm in the closing of loops piece, we were just talking about Black women and HIV living amongst that community, and it is one of the communities in which it is have a higher prevalence here. The center does have a South LA location that is community driven. Our Dr. Maisha is there. She is from the community, serving the community. Switching away from HIV to harm reduction. I want to make sure we were talking about the 10 services available for mental crisis counseling. I want to point out Defent One and DefentWeho.com. They will actually mail you 5 fentanyl testing kits. These Defent kits, they disappear off of our tables like nobody's business. They'll actually mail 5 to West Hollywood residents a month, and it will have be on a repeating cycle. It is a great thing. It is one of the things that when people come by our tables, they actually ask us if it's okay if they take it, because it is got such a great reputation for being the testing kit that people can actually use on the dance floor in the situation right then and right there and then. So again, thank you for your time, everything you're doing. Have
Thank
a
you,
great
Chris.
night.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did not know that. That's good to know. All right, so quickly we're going to move to number 9 items from commissioners, starting with Nick Wyville. Commissioner Nick Wyville to my left.
Present. Thank you. I don't have too much to add. Thanks everyone for a very, I think, productive and successful meeting. I hope that some who are watching this at home were able to find some helpful information. And of course, as always, our Human Services Department is available throughout the week and the weekend. Not always the weekend, but sometimes the weekend. Not maybe you all, but there are people available. I will just add, we will see each other again after the primary election in June. I know there's not a direct West Hollywood city election in June right now, but would just encourage all of the community members to make sure that you vote. And that's it for me.
Excellent. Commissioner Ayers?
I just want to thank staff for making this televised meeting happen. It was something that we really wanted. We want to try to get the word out about what's going on with human services and all those resources that the city has. So thank you very much.
Commissioner,
go. All right, I'm up. Thank you. Tari, I know that you sometimes join the chamber meetings for members. I think this is all great information to pass along. If there are flyers so people know their employees have access to these services, I think that'd be great. And then if we can, I'd like to adjourn tonight in memory of Jason Collins. He was the NBA's first openly gay player. He was a friend of mine and someone I worked with. He was one of the most amazing human beings you will ever have met. He did a lot for the LGBTQ community. He did a lot for a lot of nonprofits. Really special guy, 47 years old. Wow.
Commissioner Palmieri?
Just want to thank everybody for showing up, and I forgot we were on TV. I forgot this was televised. It went so smoothly.
You wore the scarf, so you knew.
Thanks.
I don't have, out of direct fear from Commissioner Borelli, I have very little to say. No, I just want to, true story. I just want to thank everybody for showing up. Thank you for participating. Thanks for those who are tuned in viewing. And of course, to the amazing staff, again, thank you for all that you do every day. We know you work incredibly hard. And shout out to you for planning to share that data when I'm out of town in July. Well played. Well played, staff. Thank you.
Chair, Vice Chair?
That is you. Right, exactly. I'm going to ask staff if we can have our WeHo Care social media maybe enhanced, looked at, beefed up. They're great posts. There's great stuff happening there, but it's not getting a great following. And I know that from my day job, that is not an easy thing to do, but if there's something we can do, someone we can bring in to help beef up engagement on that, that would be really helpful. I love that one of them this week was very specific to people who work in West Hollywood, not just folks who live here, and I'd love to get that out a little more. Maybe the chamber can help with stuff like that. As well, great job on the Older Adults Advisory Board Awards I participated in. I was not able to make the fair, which we appreciate. I will, second, I was stunned to hear about Jason Collins. I know his husband, Brunson, for a long time, and really good people. sorry for your loss. And I will say, get your skin checked, folks, because things can happen as you age. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who showed up, everyone who's in TV land here in West Hollywood watching this. Thank you, commissioners, for your very thoughtful and wise shares. The staff, thank you again for everything that you do. Seriously, I appreciate it. And one day I will, and we're going to have a logo with a mustache on it. Yeah. So, but with all joking aside, thank you very much. And I ask everyone who's watching this or has been around this to copy the link and send it to your friends. We need to get this information out to our neighbors, our fellow constituents, people. This is life-saving information. So again, thank you for everyone who spoke. Thank you to staff. And I'm going to adjourn this in the name of Jason Collins. Can you say his name and then we'll...
Jason Collins.
Adjourned.
We look forward to connecting with you soon.